Welcome everybody, welcome to What's Hop into What's Hip. This is podcast number 2. Let's get right into the news. First thing, I would like to suggest to you that you go all watch on Sundays, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, the Michael Jordan documentary that's been out for the past 2 weeks and will be out for 8 more weeks to come. It's really raw and grimy, and that's the stuff I've been always looking for through these basketball documentaries. Last week it focused on Dennis Rodman and his party life and all of the bad influences he had. He got in trouble with the cops and the law, and that he would still play and still do good through all of those roadblocks throughout his career. Another topic that I would like to hit up real quickly is talk about the thoughts of humans needing other humans for survival, and I think this is incorrect. If you ever think about it, the biggest weakness to another human is a human making a person change their mind for wrong. Only you can control yourself. So for this reason, humans don't need other humans to help them throughout their lives. There are people that are introverts who are as capable as people who are not. As long as you are happy and healthy and good with the environment that's around you, there's no reason to be angry about anything or needs for anything else like a human. Also, real quick, I would like to say please drop your comments in the comment section of this video. Our next podcast, we will be answering all the questions that you have. Thanks so much, and let's just get on with the rest of the podcast, and let's see how this goes. First off, I would like to talk about albums and how people don't understand how actually hard and the amount of time and effort that it takes to put into one music album. And I will go in detail of what people don't know and behind the scenes of everything that you don't think of that goes into an album. First, I'm going to talk about what an album is and then go into the 6 different sections of what makes an album. An album is basically any project that has 10 or more songs and 40 plus minutes more of entertainment or listening capabilities. Many people say there's a set price for making an album, but to go on, there is, you could make an album with $0, and you could also make an album with thousands, all the way up to several thousands to make an album. If you do want a realistic answer, it is between $50 and $40,000 to make an album. 6 different sections that we have in making an album is songwriting, arranging, tracking, mixing, mastering, and that is the 6. So let's get into detail about every one of these. First off, number 1 is songwriting. For this, you need to have your creative powers juicing your brain up, so you can't always be very confident enough to create a song. You have to be in that creative state to be able to create something that is good. To write a song, it could take 4 to 5 hours to write one song, but to be realistic, some of these artists can even write songs in as little as 30 minutes. Also, something I know that many people do not get is not every song that you go in and write is going to make it into album. There's something called director cuts. So those songs aren't good enough in the making, so you take those out. You may add those in a deluxe version later on or just take them out completely. But songwriting is more difficult than people think. I suggest the time period that you should take for this is up to 1 month to a month and a half at least to be songwriting. You have to take breaks. You can't just keep writing songs on and on if you aren't in the right state of mind to do so. The second thing that we will be talking about is arranging. So first, you need to have your recordings of your vocals on or lyrics of the songwriting complete and done. You arrange them in order in your DAW program to where you want to place them, your layering, your stems, everything like that. And you match it up and sync it into the beat where it's supposed to be correctly, and then break up the sections of the song to know and for better organization. So our third thing we are going to talk about, which is tracking, is optional. The recording of live instruments that you may be used in these songs. Many people do not use this these days. Most instruments come from the DAW program themselves, but some people like Panic at the Disco and MGK use live instruments in their songs, and this takes a longer amount of time to finish your album. Recording of live instruments does take more time, effort, and money, and it is recording of studio time, so you take more money out of your pocket that you don't really need if you could use your DAW program instead. Fourth item that needs to be in the album is editing, adjusting the pitches and harmonies within the song, because there will be flares and mess ups in the song that you can't really fix because of your voice. If you want a certain pitch and harmonies to sound right within the song, then you have to use editing, After Effects in your DAW software. Fifth is the most important one to me, which is mixing. The most amount of time you're probably going to spend on an album. It's to give the best sound quality possible to the beat and also the vocals by adjusting the volumes correctly of all the different sections, stems of the song. This is where also you add plug-in effects, but if is needed or put where they should be, these are things like reverb or echo effects. The sixth step is mastering, which is very important also. It is like putting the final statement on your song. After all those things, the volume has changed so much, so you're moving the volume to where you want it to be overall. And the volume of what your voice sounds like on your other songs is what it should be. Making all your songs the same by having the same coherent volume throughout all your songs by mastering it to the same volume. So another thing about the making of albums is the timing. Finishing the album will take 3 to 6 months. Marking an album 1 to 3 months, sometimes even more. And you could probably write out the album for 8 months to 2 years at most. To get to where you want to be like these big records, like #1 album currently right now is Baby, Blame It on Baby by DaBaby. But to get where he had his project, where it had, I think, 12 or 16 songs, something through there, it took time to make this. Especially in quarantine, he had more time, but it took a lot of effort to be #1. It isn't as easy as people think it could be. So for now, these are the very basics of what you don't really know about albums for beginners and even for mediocres in the business of music. But I will be explaining every one of these steps very much in detail on my live streams that will be happening this weekend. Moving on now, our old school rapper of the day that we'll be reviewing is Royce the 5'9". The first project we will be reviewing is Layers, that has 17 tracks on it. The second project we will be reviewing is The Book of Ryan with 21 tracks. Lastly, the last project that we will be reviewing is The Allegory with 22 tracks. The first project up is Layers. It came out in 2016. It starts off strong right away with a track called Tabernacle, which shows his religious side of Royce the 5'9" that he hasn't shown before in any other projects that he has put out. So we're going to move all the way down to the 13th track, and it is called America. It's about 4 minutes and 30 seconds long, And this is the next song that really hits. It's like today's style music, but sounds like one of the first ones to do that style. Next, we're going to move one track over to the 14th track, which is featuring Rick Ross and T-Push. It is called Layers, and it's also another 4-minute and 30-second song. Lastly, we are going to talk about the last track on this album called Layers. It is called Off. It is a 3-minute and 30-second song with just Royce da 5'9" on it. This song is very much, you could connect to it easily. Plus, it is most lyrical song on here, I would say. The next Royce da 5'9" project we will be looking at is called Book of Ryan. It is his most famous project that he came out with. It's the one that made him boom in followers. So right off the bat, we will be talking about the second track on this project called Woke. It is only a 1-minute and 33-second song, but this song is popular to this day on social media, especially TikTok. Moving down to track 4, the most famous music he ever came out with was called Caterpillar featuring Eminem. Also, this is also featuring King Green. This song to me sounds like a very quick but really well done freestyle type song where each one gets a verse. The next track we are going to talk about is called Godspeed featuring Ashley Sorrell. This song is basically like the song that many rappers make about saying that all the things that proved wrong and that I did what you said I wouldn't be able to do. Next track is called Dumb featuring Boogie. A 3-minute song that really shows how well of an artist Boogie is by himself. He does the chorus and hops into the second verse right away. He made a big statement on the song. Next track off the Book of Ryan we'll talk about is Cocaine. It's about how Royce connected his problems with drug abuse and alcohol abuse to his father, who had the same issues but was a strong man who chose to go fix himself for his family. Next track is called Bablo Boat featuring J. Cole. This track is specifically about family. Royce starts out with a verse, and then J. Cole does the chorus, and J. Cole has a verse on this song too. Next track is called First of the Month featuring T-Pain and Travis Chandler. This specific track is real singing and melodic and very much auto-tune. I feel like this track was rushed, but the other ones on this project were not. Lastly, I would like to hit on the remix of Caterpillar featuring Logic and King Green. I was really happy that they picked this track to be remixed because it sounds way better than the original one does, featuring Eminem. As I said before, this track is about race and the issues in race. Lastly, we were going to talk about the last track that came out this year, about 3 months ago, on February 2020, is called The Allegory. First track off Allegory that we're going to talk about is Dope Man, featuring a very famous sample called Dope Man. In this, he goes off talking about drugs in the hood areas, the hood systems. Next up, we got a track called I Don't Age. It's a 3-minute and 30-second song. The rhyme scheme in this is very different and unique to Royce himself, which I love this certain rhyme scheme that he brings. It brings his best sound out of him. The next track is called Pendulum, a 5-minute song by Royce talking about how people have to do what they have to do because of our government and how people are poor, so they have to steal from restaurants, which is the hook of the song, and etc. Next track we're going to talk about was very interesting to me. It was called Ice Cream Man Interlude. This song, as it's actually speaking, no actual beat, really just ice cream theme song. But what was so interesting about this specific song is I learned that the song that Ice Cream Man's play had to do with race back then during segregation. that our very own record label Columbia Records came out with. The next track to talk about is On My Block, a 4-minute song talking about the imagery and visions of a hood block and all the drugs and weapons that are everywhere. The next track we're going to hit up is Overcomer featuring West Side Gun. This track is very soothing. A chorus vocal effect happening in the background. But this song is about being better than your better self. Next track we're going to talk about is Thou Shall. And this is a 3-minute song that has a lot of shots in it. He takes shots at Future, saying future is future, but not what now is. That line really hit in the song. And he talks about all these rappers and how the game is getting overcrowded with people who don't belong here. Song is my favorite on this project and also is the most popular statistically on this project, which is called Upside Down, featuring Ashley Sornell and Benny the Butcher. This track feels like it hit on a very personal level for Royce, and he talked about his life and how there's people who are at their lowest and compared to him. And Ashley Sornell starts off with the 8-bar verse, very whisper-like, which I love. It sounded great as an intro to this track. And also Benny the Butcher with the last verse of the song really hit it. He had the upbeat sound of the track. The track we're going to talk about really fast is called Tricked featuring King Crooked. And this track talks about all the horrible people that we've had done horrible things the past couple years, like Harvey Weinstein and all those kind of people. So the second to last track we're going to talk about is the biggest one view-wise on YouTube. It is called Black Savage. This is featuring Cy Ari the Kid and also White Gold and Sci-Hi the Prince and lastly T.I. This track talks about all the land that whites stole from African Americans and things that were stole by others from African Americans during harsh time. Lastly, the last track of the project, Hero, talks about in detail everything he does to become the hero to his fans and to the people. Also to add, the beat on Hero is the hardest beat on this project, period. So overall, listening to Royce the 5'9's last 3 projects, I give them a 8.8 out of 10. I listen to Royce the 5'9. He's just not a nobody to me. I actually listen to him, not daily, but weekly. I do listen to him and his music. So that was our old school rapper of the week, Royce the 5'9. Go give him a listen. Go check his YouTube channel out at Royce the 5'9. Now we'll move on to a couple more different topics. Here, I would just like to take a couple seconds or minutes here to talk about personality types. You should definitely go take this test called 16 Personality. It really does tell your personality type. I found out that I have INJI, which is the most rarest personality type. I mean, INFJ personality type, which is only 2% of the population has. Go check it out. It's very interesting to learn about the things that go along with it that you could connect with and compare with and that are actually correct. On the test, there's a variety of different questions, 20 to 30 questions. You answer them, and then they give you your answer you're waiting for, which is your personality type. So I just want to say, guys, one thing that I actually love doing is looking to the future. So we will be talking about certain topics of future technology, math, and engineering products that could come out in the future. So for this podcast, we will be talking about human cloning and the possibilities of cloning humans in the future. So first off, human cloning is the creation of genetically identical copies of a human. The term is generally used to refer to artificial human cloning, which is the reproduction of human cells and tissue. It does not refer to the natural conception and delivery of identical twins. I just want to say that human cloning is technically possible because animals have been cloned in the past and it has worked cooperatively. This all started in 1997 when they found out that animal cloning was possible, and they did it first on a mammal animal to test it out. And just 7 years ago, we learned that we can copy human embryos and make it identical. Scientists do say, though, it is a very hard process. It is like transplanting embryonic stem cells from cloned human embryos, transplanting induced pluripotent stem cells into a patent should avoid triggering his or her immune system and make induced pluripotent stem cells line in far simpler than making embryonic stem cells line from cloned human embryos. No eggs, no embryos, no ethical or political concerns towards this topic. So recently, what I've been doing is working on my new project's assistance coming out eventually. The release date won't get put out until a couple weeks from now. It'll be released on one of my hints on my TikTok account. So stay tuned for that later on. But so I've been recording the songs. There's about 40% of the songs are recorded so far, so about 60% to go, and then editing the music and all that comes afterwards also. So that being said, there's a lot of time to go still, but we're making headway, and it so far seems like it's coming out very nice. So now I would like to say 8 personally made questions and answer them myself. So first off, cars. What is my dream car? My dream car is actually a Ferrari F51, which is my favorite car. I would like it in blue. Next question is my favorite holiday, which is actually Christmas. I love giving and receiving, and we come together as a family, which makes me at my happiest. The next question is, do I like coffee? And the answer to that is 2-3 years ago I started drinking coffee, and since then I love coffee from Starbucks or anywhere else too. The next question is, do I like being taken a lot of pictures of? And that is a no. I hate taking pictures ever. Since I was born, I hate pictures, and I will always hate taking pictures. Our fifth to last question we have is, do I like going to beaches? To answer this is yes. It's kind of no and yes at the same time. It's kind of in between. I love going to beaches. I love walking on the sand and going to the water. It's just that sometimes going to the beach is a little scary, for shark attacks and things like that. And the next topic is hiking. And yes, I love hiking. I love pushing myself as hard as I can, going up miles and miles of steep hills. And this usually happens during the summer because where I live, it's cold or windy any other season. So summer is usually the only time that we could go hiking. Our second to last question we have here is, do I believe in aliens? The answer to this is yes. I believe the government knows that aliens exist and that they are hiding it from us more than they should be. And the last question we got for today is, do I like change? And I actually kind of do like change. It just disrupts your pattern which makes it very difficult, emotional, and mentally challenging. But after the change is over, it is such a good feeling. And this has to do with like life changes and things like that. Also like to give a reminder one more time for COVID-19, please go outside and get some exercise. It is not alright being stuck inside the house all day without any exercise taking place. So real quick, I would just like to talk about the topics, the hints that I gave so far on my project Existence, which were 3. The first one was about a new project, Existence, was going to come out real soon. And then the second one was the cover art, which is a building with fire and smoke all around it. A old school type picture with the word Existence and purple font right in the middle. The next hint I gave was the number of songs, and that was 7. There is 7 different songs on my project Existence. And my last hint that I gave out was that the single that is going to come out on this project is going to be called Up To Now, and that is actually going to come out a week from today, which is May 10th. And I would also like to give a surprise announcement right now. Another hint from the project Existence. The first track name is called Intro. Creative Powers. Thanks so much for tuning in to Podcast 2, Let's Hop Into What's Hip. It is very appreciated with all the good comments you leave. Please like the video. Also, I would like to say there was a hidden hint in my second hint too. It was in the song playing in the background. And if you find out what it is, please comment it below in this video. And lastly, go follow me on Twitter at NoahMorgan_30. Go follow me on TikTok at NoahMorgan12. And go follow me on Spotify at N.M.Ballin. As always, stay strong, stay positive, stay right-minded, in the right mind, meditate when you're stressed out, and go watch some Netflix if you are bored. All I do is simply ask you to subscribe to listen to more podcasts in the future and even more content. This is N.M.Ballin, and peace. Stay tuned to May 10th when my podcast number 3 will be out, and my single Up To Now will be out on May 10th also, and also another reaction video will be out on May 10th. 3 videos in one day, so stay tuned for that exciting day.